Hey guys, this is Dr. McFarland, and in the Community of Confident Musicians podcast, today we have Aaron Short. He is a musician from New York and fellow YouTuber, and so we're going to get right into the interview. Hey Aaron, what's going on?
Hi, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so this whole internet thing is pretty exciting because we're able to, do our thing on YouTube and also communicate with other musicians all over the world and kind of learn from each other. So that's kind of the point of what I wanted to talk about today in the podcast is kind of your story, how you got started, your musical journey, and we can talk about gear and other stuff as well. But just kind of give us a rundown on a little bio about you and what you do there in New York.
Okay, well, as you can tell from my accent, I'm from England originally, but I've been in New York for 10 years now. So I was born in England, in the southeast of England, in the countryside. I played piano when I was 7. I switched to guitar around 13. I went to college and uni, we call it in England. I studied music for many years and did bands and did the singer-songwriter thing. And I did all this while the internet was starting to emerge. So yeah, that's how old I am.
Right.
I remember in my hometown when no one had internet, and I remember when it used to come through the phone and it used to knock the phone. When the phone rang, it would boot you off the computer with AOL. Remember that? You had to pay for
Oh,
all
yeah.
that money to be on there.
Dial
I
up.
I remember a guy coming to our town and installing a single Wi-Fi tower to get Wi-Fi to everybody. It was crazy. That's how it was. And I remember setting up a website back then. And I remember the local paper coming over and interviewing me. And I remember saying to him, "Yeah, I've got a website, and I get 3 emails a month from my website." Or it might be
Right.
less. It might be 3 emails a year, and it was impressive back then. So I was kind of on the cutting edge, in the beginning. I was up there. I was working it. I was on MySpace and doing all that stuff before anyone else was even on the internet.
And is
Uh,
this website still up and running, or is it you kind
well
of morphed into something different now?
well, it's still aaronshort.com, and,
Okay, great.
it looks better. It's using WordPress now and not, whatever came on the computer 25 years or however long ago. It was a very, very, very basic website back then. But that's how the internet came along and changed everything. And now I think about what we're doing here, making this podcast and making YouTube videos in HD and 4K. It's crazy, right? What's happened with technology? You don't even realize. You look behind you and you've come this far. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking at the website right now, and it looks really good.
Well, I'm not a web designer, but I just use WordPress, and I don't really use it. I use YouTube for everything. I mainly use that, have my gig schedule on there,
Mhm.
and just to have people reach out to me. I don't really use it. I almost feel now like YouTube is my website. Interesting.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's where most people go to learn stuff, find out about different people, different bands, different music, how to change the carburetor on a car. I mean, whatever.
Definitely, definitely people use it for that, and also some people watch, almost like watching TV. But I'm also now I just got into live streaming, and now I'm doing that all the time. So it's almost like rather than go to my website to read about me and email me, you can just come into my live stream and ask me a question, any question, right on in real time. That's even more crazy to me. This is the new wave now.
Oh, yeah. So what do you like about live streaming versus, setting up cameras and editing a video, like like a pre-done video? Like, what do you like about the live stream versus video format?
Well, it's been a bit of an evolution for me because I started using my phone, and I started having like a backdrop in my room. You can see these on my YouTube channel, Aaron Short Music. I did like songs. I recorded audio, matched it to the video, and it took me a long time. Then I decided I wanted to make videos faster, so I just put a camera above my computer, and it doesn't look as professional, but it's easy. I sit down, I load up the audio, I load up the camera. The camera goes straight into the computer. I mix it together and I put it onto YouTube. So for me, the simplicity is important because I don't like setting up lots of gear to make one video. It's
Right.
kind of a hassle, and I think lots of people feel that way. Now, what I've done with the live streaming is kind of one step further because I don't have to edit. I can go live, give a presentation, trim off the beginning and the end, and just leave it up. And the great thing about that is there might be some stuff in there that I wish I could edit out, but you can kind of edit the video through the site, through YouTube when you've done it, but you
Mm-hmm.
also get that live interactive feel. So as long as you don't have too many gaps and any problems, you get a live, like almost like a live demonstration of a product with live feedback from the viewer. And for me, that's even more exciting. I love that.
That's really cool. Now, what are you using to do your live streams? Is there a certain software that you like to use?
Yeah, like I said, this is all quite new to me, but a friend of mine showed me OBS, which is free. I'm not against paying for software, but obviously free is great, and that software works very well. So I've got OBS and a bunch of plugins too. I've got the Skype plugin now, so I can bring people in on video, which is very cool.
That's
You just got to
cool.
be careful not to overload it because I'm broadcasting at 1080p. Even though I have a good connection, I tried to add more cameras and it started to slow down. So you have to really, yeah, you need a super fast connection if you can have three 4K cameras on the screen at once.
Yeah, before we had, I think, 50 megs per second, like download speeds, and probably
Mhm.
even slower upload, which I think the upload is more important when you're doing live streaming.
Yeah,
But now we
we have,
have like 500
yeah, we
megs
do.
per second because we've upgraded through. I think we have AT&T Uverse or something, and I can edit a video and upload to YouTube in like just a matter of minutes, which before it used to take like almost an hour just to upload a regular video. So I may have to do the live stream testing once again now that I have a faster connection. But yeah, it's definitely a fun way to interact with your audience, like you said, in real time. I'm kind of looking at the website here, and so tell me more about what you do live, because you got a lot of New York, like Tommy Bahama and Scallywags and stuff like that. So, what's your typical setup? Your load in, how many people do you play for at a time usually? Just kind of give us a feel for what that looks like.
Okay, so I'm very fortunate in a way because when I was younger, I learned to play acoustic guitar and I learned to sing because no one in my band wanted to sing. So I then started doing solo shows, acoustic guitar and voice. Yeah, purely straight into the PA, no pedals or loops or anything. Looping wasn't even really a thing back then. So I did that and I've always done that. So the great thing is if I don't have any band work, which lately it's been harder for me to find, I can always go out just by myself and play. And now I am adding pedals. Like for years, I've used the TC Helicon Play Acoustic. Been
Hmm.
amazing, amazing pedal. And I just upgraded to the Voice Live 3 Extreme, and I absolutely love it. It's just so powerful, so versatile. And with that, directly into a PA speaker like a QSC K8, like I got the K8.2, that will do any gig. That'll do a coffee shop up to a wedding. It's
Right.
absolutely amazing. So that rig is phenomenal, and I loved how self-contained I am, and I can go and play anywhere very easily with that rig.
Yeah, because that QSC is a fairly light speaker, right? I mean, it's not
Yeah, like
super
30.
heavy.
I mean, it's 32 pounds. I wouldn't want to, well, maybe 28, but I wouldn't want to carry that too far. When I first came to New York, I bought an AER speaker. It was the Compact XL, so it was like 22 pounds, and it wasn't fun to carry that around. Yeah, for a lot, people keep asking me these questions. Which speaker should I buy? Because on my site, on my YouTube, I review speakers too, amps and things. And
Right.
I'm always like, well, you can get one that's 15 pounds, but it might not do every gig. You have to make sure the gig you're going to is suitable for that speaker and use it optimally.
Right.
What I love about the QSC stuff is one of those guys is rated at, well, I mean, it's rated at 2,000 watts, but the point is one of those speakers will do anything, very, very unlikely to ever need more than that, you know? So that it's an amazing rig, and I really recommend that to everybody. A compact solution that's versatile and can play anywhere is really, I think that's an important thing to have before you start adding other stuff on like subwoofers and more speakers and things.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. I was just trying to imagine. I've never been to New York. I should visit sometime here, but I could see you with like a little dolly carrying a speaker behind you and a backpack with like some pedals and your guitar
Yeah.
gig bag, and how's that work with moving around the
I
city
never
and
liked that. I never liked the dolly thing because when you get the subway, you can't get down the steps for you have to pick it up anyway in the dolly.
uh
So,
yeah.
so I actually sold that one and I bought the AER 60, which is like 17 pounds, and I just carried that around. And then once I started driving and once I started relying on cabs, way too much, I would take my own speaker. And if a venue wants to get a speaker, I try and convince them to get the same speaker that I use,
Mm.
so it's consistent, And some venues have PA anyway, like down in Nashville. But it's yeah, I mean, you can, if you're going to carry stuff, it's probably better to get one of the lighter speakers and just deal with the any limited range that it has, because you don't want to damage your back just carrying stuff around the city. That's for sure, and it can be stressful as well when you're in a crowded subway car and everyone's like knocking into you. You've got a mic stand. I did something very cool. I got one of those soft mic stand bags that they make, like a case, and I
Yeah.
put a strap on it so I can actually wear the mic stand on my back. So I got the guitar in a
Oh
gig
wow.
bag. I got the strap on my back. I used to have a 3/4 size guitar. It was even easier. Now I've got a full size guitar in a Meridian. They just went out of business. Amazing case, very expensive, but like a big soft bag with huge pockets on it. So I got loads of stuff in there. I got the mic stand on my shoulder. I deliberately looked for a light stand, not too flimsy, so I can wear it. Some mic stands are heavy, right? I don't want that on my shoulder. So I deliberately looked for a light stand at Guitar Center and Amazon, and I found like a Peavey one that was sturdy enough that it wouldn't break, but light enough to wear on my shoulder. And I had the speaker in my other hand, and I had a free hand then for my phone or for the door.
Right.
So I found a great rig that worked for me and the places that I played at. But now I've got the car. It's nice to be able to take more stuff if I want to, but I still like to be compact. I don't like setting up loads of gear, for a
Oh
for a
yeah.
gig. It's not fun. It takes a
Well,
lot of time.
that's been my goal over the years is if I can go smaller, lighter, but the same volume, if not louder, then I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, because if I do a band gig, I did this wedding in September just gone, and I remember it took me like an hour to pack away. But with my it was a band, and I did all the PA. But with my solo show, I can be packed away in 5 minutes. It's absolutely that's a big difference. That adds to the job, doesn't it?
That is
Very
really cool. Now with the TC Helicon, I'm assuming that is you can do harmonies with it. You can like do like
mm,
reverb effects. I
you
mean,
can, and it's
how
really
does
good.
that play into your setup and how do you use it live?
Well, like I said, when I began, I was a purist. I was guitar straight into PA, mic straight into PA. I did use some tracks occasionally, but I was never into like guitar effects and things on the acoustic. But once I found the TC stuff, I was blown away, and I still think it's the best out there. I
Oh yeah.
can't believe that no one else is doing. I mean, this pedal is like 5, 6 years old, and they say they're working on a new one, but since they got bought by Behringer, they've been a bit slower with stuff.
Right.
But this as someone that plays guitar and sings, there's not many companies that do what TC do. Boss have a pedal, Digitech have a pedal, but they're nothing compared to I mean, the Voice Live 3 it's completely knocked me out. I mean, you can even record the show. You can record the gig straight up to memory card and
What?
then sync up to a video when you get home, listen back to the gig. You can play backing tracks that are stored on that card or internally. You've got a tuner, you've got vocal effects, guitar effects, presets. You can even have it automate. You can set it up so as the track plays, it switches the guitar effects on and off. I mean, I don't do that because it's it's starting to get very complicated.
Yeah, you
But
have to
it's
program that ahead of time, right?
of course, yeah, but it's so powerful, and it's even got a looper which has like three separate tracks, and I mean something like you look at something like the new pedals like the Helix, and it looks so powerful by looking at it, such great quality. But the
Right.
looper is so basic, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I think to myself, why does the TC Helicon Voice Live 3 have such a great looper with long loop time and 3 tracks, and then the newer pedals like the Helix has just a basic 30-second looper? I don't get it. It's a complaint of mine because the TC Helicon pedal is very, very basic, and I guess it's not doing the processing power of the effects and the amps. And to be fair, the amps are pretty terrible in the pedal, but for acoustic stuff, it's amazing.
Right. Well, that's cool. So you're actually plugging your guitar into that pedal as well?
So the guitar goes in, the mic goes in, a single cable goes to the PA speaker. It adds reverb. It's got a tuner. It's got a solo boost. The,
Yeah.
the vocal has EQ correction. The guitar has a full EQ section. I use delay on voice and guitar, tap tempo. I use the harmonies; they really feel like the chorus. It even has a click track. If you want to wear in-ears, you can have in-ears in, and you can hear the click, or you can put the click through the front of house, and the click can be a bass drum. So I use that as a bass drum sound.
Oh well, yeah.
It's just I could talk about this thing for like hours. It does so much stuff. It's really impressive. It's funny. It's probably my favorite piece of gear ever because of what I do, and I haven't really covered it on my channel yet. It's quite
Right.
ironic. I need to talk about it more
You
because it
should
really
do
is
like a whole
great.
series just on
On
that
that
pedal
pedal. Yeah,
alone.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
Now, is the
Yeah.
harmonies for the vocal, is that going based off of your guitar chords, or how does that work for
Yep,
that?
another amazing thing. So you have to play in tune and clean, but you play a G major, say open G major, very clean and in tune, and then you sing a G and it adds a third above,
Wow.
intelligently. Now you got, like I said, you got to play clean and you got to sing on key and not, obviously if you have vibrato, it will match that. It's still incredibly impressive though what it's doing.
If
You
you
know,
if you sang a F, which would be a flat 7 in the key of G, would it
yeah,
would it know intelligently to
no, no,
play like a Mixolydian style chord or
you
something, or
it's funny. You can
dominant 7?
on the Voice Live 3 over the smaller pedals they make, the stripped down versions, you can actually strum a chord while you're playing, hold down a button, the harmony button, and then that will set the key of that song to always be G. So then you haven't got to tell it, you could solo and it will still be in G major.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that's
it's not
cool.
clever enough to know all that other stuff. It'd be very hard, wouldn't it?
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's just so impressive already for what it is. It's really amazing. I mean, it just makes me happy every time I use it, and it's so useful for someone like me. I've even used it in a band. If you've got like you've got the head rush, right?
Right.
If you get the play acoustic or something, and then have the guitar into that, and then that just for your vocal, then you can add harmonies in a band. So if you got, sometimes you get a three-piece band, and I'm the only singer, and it's annoying because you're thinking, well, it's a three-piece band and there's only one voice, but with that pedal, you can just add your own harmonies. It's if there's any singers that haven't tried that pedal, they have to try it. It's amazing.
So what's some other gear that you use? Like what's your typical guitar brand that you kind of like to use most of the time?
Well, from doing the YouTube channel, it continually changes, but I did fall in love with Martin guitars for a long time, just because of the history. But then I tried to get into the whole, how do I amplify that guitar?
Mhm.
And that was a whole new rabbit hole. So that took me down a whole rabbit hole with that. I made videos about guitar pickups on my channel, and now I still love them. But when I play live, I use other things that are more designed for the stage. I
Right.
just reviewed the Acoustasonic for Fender. Something like that is an amazing guitar for the Voice Live 3, because it's got different sounds and it doesn't feed back. Um,
Yeah, and I
and
saw Mary Spender recently got one of those as well.
yeah, she did. A lot of the big YouTubers did. But I personally feel there's not been many people though that actually are showing off how I would. I mean, I haven't done it yet either, to be fair, but I'd rather see people using it on stage with all the different sounds to loop. I think that's really what it's for.
Right.
Some people don't get it. Some people even comment that guitar's not very loud. I mean, it's not meant to be like unplugged. It's not meant to be played unplugged. It's meant to be played plugged in.
Right.
So I really think that's a guitar for loopers and for live gigs.
Well, with me in the studio here, I mainly have a digital studio. I have electronic drums. I use the Head Rush for all my guitar and bass stuff. Keylab from Arturia, just keyboard controller. And I could
Mm.
see using the Acoustasonic in the studio, like just plug it in directly to a mic preamp, and now I have a great acoustic sound without having to mic anything up.
Well, no, that's okay. I'll just tell you about that guitar. So this is something else I want to cover, like impulse responses.
Uh huh.
The impulse responses on that guitar are not like 100% wet, so it's not going to sound like a mic'd acoustic in the studio.
Sure.
And it doesn't sound like a piezo, like straight into the PA. It sounds like something in the middle, which is great again for stage because it still cuts through.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I mean, I am still quite a purist. As much as I love technology, I am a purist, and I personally say to people, well, I wouldn't do that. I would just throw a mic in front of a decent acoustic and record that. It's going to
Right.
sound great. I don't know. I feel like when I hear the Helix recorded, I'm always like, oh, it sounds great. Whenever I play it in the room, I never like it. I want to have an amp in the room, and it's the same with the acoustic. You know, when I plug in one of these stage guitars, like the Cole Clark or the Maton or something like that, or the Acoustasonic, that works so well in that context. But if I was ever recording an acoustic song at home, I would always just throw a mic in front of the guitar.
Right.
I think we're getting there. Have you tried the Tone Dexter?
No, not yet.
So I want to get that's James May. I want to get him on my show to do a live demo of that. It's really cool, and it sounds like a microphone. But I had the same issue with that at times. It was too much like a microphone, so it wasn't cutting enough. You see what I mean? It's like I feel like everything still has its own application. Although I do think that we're getting closer all the time. Every new revision that comes out, we're getting
Yeah.
closer. But I still like to throw a mic in front of a guitar and have an amp in the room and then use that software stuff for recording demos and stuff, you know.
Well, I was
That's
just
just
wondering if you heard it in a mix, like, would you really tell
well,
the difference?
well, you'll see. I'm halfway through a video which is like famous songs played on the Acoustasonic. So I've
Yeah.
got, you know,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
I'm doing like name that tune. So I've got like a Hendrix song with a distortion. I've got a Shadow song with a clean Strat sound. But you know, the other thing I got to say is that will never be like an actual Strat because it's got acoustic strings on it.
Mm-hmm.
It will
Right.
never be like an acoustic guitar because it's got 11s on. You know, it won't be like a Martin with 12s on it and a microphone. It just won't.
Right.
So I think you've got to keep your expectations with all this gear in check, or I think you can be disappointed.
Oh
But
yeah.
for demos you know, a last resort, yeah, definitely. No, it sounds great. Um,
But for
uh,
going back to your club slash bar gigs or coffee shop gigs,
oh,
then
perfect.
it'd
That's
be
what it's.
great. Yeah.
That, I say that's what it's made for. It's made for carrying one guitar, playing acoustic with no feedback, and then throwing some electric stuff on for variation. That's what it's made for. It won't sound like a Martin and and a Strat. You know, it's very hard for these hybrids to do everything well, isn't it?
Right. Oh yeah.
I don't. It's the day they do that. But I don't know. I don't know if you can if they'll ever make something because it won't feel like a Strat. It won't feel like an acoustic with a big body because it's not. So I tell people that watch the review of that on my channel, you know, take it for what it is and make it work for you. Don't expect it to be something that it's not, and don't complain about things that it's not. Like don't say it's not loud unplugged when it's basically an electric guitar, isn't it?
Right.
So keep your expectations in check with this. I think with anything digital, it's easy to get disappointed. You know, you got it's a bit like the whole amp in the room thing I was just talking about. When people buy a head rush and they say, "Oh, it doesn't sound like my amp." Well, it won't, will it? Because
No.
it's not an amp. It's a recording of an amp. So
Exactly.
you've always got to keep things in check, or
It,
you get disappointed.
it's an amp with a microphone in front of it coming out
Yeah,
of either a studio speaker or an FR
exactly,
speaker of some sort.
exactly. It's just different, isn't it? It's a different thing, and the Acoustasonic is a different thing. So you have to go in with that mindset. But it is very impressive, and you know, they did a ton of R&D on that. And some people are complaining about the price as well, and I have to say, well, it's Fender, Fishman. They did a lot of R&D. It's well
Yeah.
made. You know, I don't know. That's a debate I'm trying to get away from because I don't like arguing with people on YouTube about how much stuff costs. I mean, that's a
Well,
whole
I
other
look at it
thing.
like you have 5 different guitars
Yeah,
in one guitar. So yeah, for $2,000, you're getting each guitar for like what, $400 or 500, something like that. And
yeah, it's a good way to look at it.
you
And
know,
you also have cutting edge technology. I mean, when you know when the first iPhone came out, it was much more expensive than they are now. So
right.
you're paying for that as well. I think people have to remember that. And then there's so many things like that now. Like that comes with a really nice gig bag, and people say, "Oh, it comes with a gig bag," and I say, "Yeah, but it's for gigs.
Yeah.
So don't you want a gig bag?
You want to
If it
wear it
came,
on your back like a
if
backpack and walk around New York and have something super light and flexible, you know.
yeah, if it came with a hard shell case, you'd have to then go out and buy a gig bag, wouldn't you?" I don't know. I think the technology is changing and the gear is changing, but it's funny how musicians are still can be purists, isn't it? The
Right.
minute Fender brought that out, all the Fender fans were like, "What are they doing? They've lost the plot. Oh no."
Yeah, but it's just
Um,
one guitar out of thousands that they come out with. So
And you don't have
don't
to
worry
buy
about
it.
it.
You don't have to buy it. But now, ironically enough, now, a year later, people are buying it. People like it now.
Right.
Now people are like, "Oh, your guitar looks so cool. I love it. It's awesome."
Well, let's go back to your shows page here on the website. So I'm basically seeing you're playing every Saturday, Tuesday, and Friday. Is that about right?
So actually, I wanted to make this point. I'm a bit disappointed with myself because I was the first one on the internet in my hometown, but
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of late to YouTube. I made a YouTube account in 2008. It's now 2020, and I had a few videos and a few subscribers, but now I'm really pushing YouTube as well as everyone else. And I wish I'd been pushing it sooner because I feel like if I pushed it back in 2010, by now I could have a really big platform. So although I was kind of first on the internet, I feel like I'm last to YouTube, one of the last ones to YouTube now. So
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I'm complaining or regretting anything, but it's important to stay ahead of the curve, isn't it? It's important to stay at the
Yeah.
front all the time. And I do wish in hindsight that I'd been a bit more forward thinking. Back then, the gigs were everything. It was getting gigs, playing, getting the money in hand. And now, of course, some of the big YouTubers now are sitting at home in their mansions making videos and not leaving the house. So that is a wonderful thing as well.
Yeah, I kind of have seen that change over the years myself. These big time touring musicians, maybe hired guns or whatever, like, yeah, they just make a YouTube channel and now they're showing everything that they've had experience with on the road and on stage. I think that's why Rick Beato is such a great resource because he's produced all these bands and he has all this music theory knowledge that he can just share.
Right, and that's why I'm not complaining because I have been a teacher at a music school. I have done loads of shows, like thousands of gigs. So I have that knowledge now to give on my channel. And without that knowledge, I don't think I'd be so good on my channel as I
Right.
am. So that's important. But my point really is that the internet did kind of kill music, didn't it? It killed CDs and everything, and now it's kind of interfering with touring, and it's really becoming the new normal. I mean, I watch YouTube all day long. I got YouTube Red, and I watch it all day long. I watch your channel, I watch Henning and Tone King, and I go to the live streams and the giveaways, and it's
Right.
almost all I use now. It's completely taken over. The internet now for me is almost Facebook and YouTube. It's
Yeah, I
crazy.
feel like my kids have Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I have YouTube, and my wife has she'll get on Amazon and look up like um
Amazon, yes,
really
another one.
really cheesy like Hallmark type movies.
Yeah.
we
And
all
then
have our area we go to for entertainment, you know.
yeah, definitely, definitely. They've done a great job with that. And like I said, this is a really interesting conversation because I'm now thinking back and how fast did things change. I mean, I remember when CD Baby came out, and it was
Oh
this
yeah.
huge thing. And now, I mean, now we just pay a subscription, get all the music we can have. It's crazy. We got all this video, all these free lessons. And
Right.
so, yeah, I'm glad I have the knowledge that I have to present on my channel now. But yeah, those guys that started early were very smart, I have to say.
Well, let's kind of talk about that for a second. So the whole goal of my website and the channel and really this podcast is really the concept of being a confident musician and what that really looks like. And there's even different levels of that. I mean, you have the musician that just knows enough to write songs, or
Yeah.
maybe sits on the back porch in Kentucky somewhere and plays for the Frogs at night. I don't know, whatever. But he has confidence enough to do that. But then you have the next level of musician that has the confidence to continually, and that's why I'm looking at your website and looking at all these shows that you play, because it's like if you're playing every Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, every single week, if
Mm.
you're not confident in doing that at
Oh,
first, I
okay.
mean, after a month or two, I mean, you're a professional at that point because you got the routine, you got the feel of how everything's supposed to be set up, and so just kind of talk about that from your point of view of where you've kind of came from, maybe how your feelings were when you first started out about like, can I really do this? Am I really good enough? And then kind of walk us through that mindset that you have there.
Well, actually, yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about that, which will actually tie in with what we were just talking about with the YouTube thing. It will kind of bridge the two together.
Good.
So when I was younger, I just started playing in local pubs when I was really young in my teenage years, and any gigs I could get anywhere, I would just play. I'd busk, I'd drive, and any festival that had me, I would just do anything. And I wasn't very good, but I was kind of learning on the job. That's how I feel about it.
Right.
Then I went to music school. I got down to London. In London, there's loads of pubs and bars. So I started gigging, and I ended up gigging every night. I was gigging every night. It was crazy. Now, the gigs there were not as long as in New York. They were like 2 45-minute slots with a break, a 30-minute break in between.
That's pretty good
I
though.
was, that was good. Well, it was good. That was great. And I was playing like every night for a while. I moved to New York, and some people helped me out, and I got gigs again. The gigs here are more like 3 hours with a 15-minute break.
Wow.
But there was a time here I was playing every night. There was a time here I was playing twice a day, every night for years, years and years and years. And yes, I was confident. I loved it. I never got bored of it. I loved performing. I got good at playing those songs. But that's the whole point. I got good at playing those songs. You give me something else to play, and I feel like a beginner, because
Yeah.
I think this is what happens to a lot of people on the bar scene. And no disrespect, of course, is my opinion, but from my experience and with me, might be laziness as well. But if you play a 3 hour or 2 3 hour gigs, 6 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and you go home, you wake up the next day, your voice is shot, you're trying to rest your voice, get ready for the next gig. The last thing you want to do is start playing the guitar and singing and writing the song. You do not want to do that. So then you go that night and play again, and you get in this loop of all this money coming in, but you don't want to do anything else. You don't want. It's not that you don't. It's not that you hate music. It's just that you're tired, and your voice is tired, and your hands are tired, and you've got to restring your guitar, and then you start. I personally went down the whole thing of buying gear to kind of keep myself interested. Now, I started the YouTube channel thinking that things may change, and they kind of did. And maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy for me, because I suddenly lost a few of my gigs,
Oh wow.
and not for any reason of my own, as far as I know. But I just lost them. The bars closed. They stopped having music, whatever.
Right.
So then YouTube took over. Now I'm not going to say I'm making a living from YouTube. As you know, it's very hard. It's a very small supplemental income right now, but I really enjoyed moving, doing more on YouTube. I felt like I was creating again, because in England I was writing songs, recording out an album. Here I just worked, did those shows and did those shows. So I actually practiced, and I learned some different songs, and I spoke about things, and I did some covers, I did some videos. I felt like I was actually in a better place, even though I was working less. And this is the problem. This is a problem for musicians.
Mm-hmm.
You can tour and play 3 times a night and do the same old songs, or you can write songs but maybe not make any money.
Right.
So finding that middle ground is incredibly important, and I couldn't do it. I just didn't want to give up what I had. So once I was forced to, I then went to YouTube. I was much more satisfied as a musician. So that's great. And right now I'm doing even more on YouTube. I'm going live every day right now. I'm interviewing people, which is obviously networking,
Yeah.
and it's the opposite. I mean, I spent all morning, like, we're working on this cover together, and this morning I was like recording vocals for 3 hours. I would never have done that if I was singing 7 nights a week. I'm not going to sit and record vocals for 3 hours and then do a podcast with you. I wouldn't be able to speak.
Right.
Not that I ever had real problems with my voice, but you just don't feel like it. You
Your
don't
voice can
feel.
your voice sounds great, by the way.
Thank you, but when you no, but I haven't been out gigging recently, so your voice
Right.
recovers. Yesterday, I did an hour live stream. People were asking me questions, and then when I finished, my voice was shot
Oh yeah.
because of the mental energy you're using and the talking. Like, my voice was shot. So, you have to get balance in life. So right now, live streaming every day might be a bit excessive, but if you can do 3 shows a week, live within your means, and do YouTube 3 times a week. That's which includes writing on the camera and teaching and learning new styles. That's a good balance, I think. And I'm much happier when I'm creating and developing as a musician. And I need time and space to do that. So I understand when there's work there, we grab it as a musician. But I think it's very hard to be disciplined enough to also practice as well. I know some people can do it. I've got friends that used to wake up at 7 a.m., play for 2 hours, new stuff, and then go and gig at night. That's great. I'm not like that. I need
Right.
bit more time to kind of, I'm a bit lazier. But you have to. I don't want to say you have to. I mean, some people might play 30 songs and play them their whole lives and play them very well. Are they a musician? Are they a confident musician? Yes, they're confident of those songs. But can they play jazz? Probably not, because they've never played it. So it's finding that balance, isn't it, with everything in life, and especially music, of what you want to do and what you want to achieve. If you want to be a songwriter, you need to make time to write songs, and you might not get paid for it. If you want to be a YouTuber, you've got to make time to make videos, which is why I found a way to make them easily, so I can quickly make them, and you've got to put time into that. So the problem now as a musician, as liberating as the internet is that we have to do everything. As you know, we have
Right.
to we have to know how to run a camera now. So we have to know how to restring the guitar, play the songs, you know, sing the songs, run the pedals, use the pedals. Now we have to know how to do audio editing and video editing and about lighting. And now I've got people coming on my channel for interviews like you are. I'm having to like schedule people and make sure their equipment is working. It's an absolute crazy job.
Right.
It's a huge thing. It's so easy for the music to become second or even 10th thing. Whereas when we were kids, when I was a kid, all I did was play the guitar. All I did, I played the guitar. I had a 4-track recorder. I had no responsibilities. I lived with my parents. Everything was great. When I was like 13, I just played guitar and I made music. I didn't think about gear I
Yeah.
just thought about the music. As you get older and you have to pay your bills, and you start to love gear and buying stuff, of course that can drift away. And recently I've discovered that it's very important to keep that. If you are a writer and do that kind of thing, it's very important to keep that alive and remember that the reason you started music, if that was to curate songs and be in a band, then do that. Keep that healthy, and don't just get caught in the one thing. But this is all very personal and subjective, what I'm saying.
Oh,
I'm
sure.
I'm happier now. Like I said, some people play 30 songs, play them every night, and they're very happy. They're very good at what they do, and they are still a musician as much as anyone else, right?
Right.
It's all about what you want, from what you expect and want from yourself.
So I'm looking at your song list here. We got Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond.
Mm, I know.
I Feel Fine by the Beatles. Is
Yeah.
there, do you find that you have to, not have to, but like, do you find you add songs to your list? Like when someone calls out a song, maybe like or like a request, you're like, oh, I hadn't thought about playing that song yet. Let me add that to the list. Maybe I'll play it next time. Or,
Yep. Yep.
do you just Google the lyrics real fast and try to
Yep.
stumble through it? What do you do in that situation of getting requests from patrons?
Well, again, I was against doing that. I was against using lyrics and things on a gig, but now I have my phone, because if I get, especially once I move to America, if I we get tips, right? So if
Oh,
they
sure.
request a song, I'll load it up. I've got all these apps now. I mean, again, technology. The phones are incredible now, right? I've got lyric apps, Google, Tab thing, all these things. So I load up the song. I try and do it. If it works well, I try and remember. I don't remember, because, again, I'm not the kind of person that would go home, write that down, wake up the next day, practice that song if I'm too busy. But the great thing about like the Voice Live 3, I record every show now on this. I've got a huge memory card in there. I
Oh,
record
cool.
every show. So if I do think back, oh, there was a good song I did, I can just go back to that and listen and find it. So yeah, again, technology is super helpful, but what's the most helpful really is time, time to sit and try things and just try songs at home. But I do believe in taking requests. And it's funny, because when I moved to America, I didn't know Sweet Caroline. I didn't know Wagon Wheel. The only country I did was Ring of Fire and Country Roads. And now I do, like 30 country songs.
Right.
So it's also where you live as well, and what the people want to hear. And if you play in restaurants, obviously you do a lot of Beatles and James Taylor. But I'm lucky, because I like that. That's the kind of music that I like anyway. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of like country style songs on this list. It's mainly
Well, I
like,
mean, popular
mostly
popular
pop.
country.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I
pop and
got
rock
people
and
are no, I got People Are Crazy. I got Garth Brooks on there. I got
yeah.
several Johnny Cash songs. I don't mean like hard. I don't mean like the stuff I hear when I go down to Nashville, like the
Oh,
real
I do
country.
see some Zach Brown band, so
Is that two of them?
that'll
Yeah,
work. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's more as well, but yeah, I do quite a lot of that now. Well, The Gambler, the song we're working on now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like more like popular country, you know. You got me thinking now. I'm sure there's a bunch more, but they're all popular songs. They're all songs that will get you tips, right? But they're also all songs I like. I can't play a song I don't like. I don't know how musicians do that. If you can do that and it's a job, that's great. I'm not gonna knock it. But I'm very lucky that the songs I love the guitar, I love singing, I love looping, I love those songs, I love the venues I play at, I love performing to people. So it all comes together. I also love doing the live streams and the concerts. I've been doing concerts on YouTube now. So I just started doing that. You don't
Yeah.
get paid. You don't get paid. You get numerous copyright hits every time you do it. You don't
Right.
lose your page, but you can't. You're not going to make money from those streams. But you can take super chats and get tips, and you can use it to network and meet people. The thing I want to happen next is I want to see the audience, because right now when I go live, I
That'd be
can have
cool.
like flashing lights and a smoke machine and feel like I'm on a stage, but I can't see the person on the screen. I just see their text, right, typing. I would love it if on my screen all the people. I mean, again, bandwidth would be the problem, but I would love it if everyone came up and actually was like watching me while I play, and maybe I could even turn them off if I want to. I think that's the next step for me. But like you said about bandwidth, we have 500 down, we have like 25 up. That's the problem.
Hmm.
We need 500 up really. We need the upload speed more than the download speed.
Right.
But most people aren't doing 4K YouTube streams. They don't need that, so we don't get it. But
Yeah.
if you want to do YouTube, my recommendation is get the fastest upload speed that you can get, the best stuff you can get, because video, even 1080p video, takes up a lot of resources, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, not to mention the current situation that we're in society, but I do see some artists on Instagram and Facebook and even YouTube advertise, maybe their gigs have been canceled because of this or that. And now they're selling tickets to like a virtual, like
Yeah,
online show. It's like,
yeah.
that's
Well,
cool.
this is really the catalyst for getting everyone online. Like some stuff was online, but all the musicians I knew were out gigging all the time.
Hmm.
Now the musicians I knew that I wanted to go and see but had no time, they're all online now. I've been watching loads of musicians, and I've been saying to everyone at this time right now, we're all busier than ever, but we're not getting paid for it unless we can sell tickets or get tips. And it's hard, isn't it, to ask
Right.
people. It's one thing in a bar that you're getting paid and they tip you. It's quite kind of hard to go online and be like, you can tip. I don't know. I feel a bit weird about it. Um, but at least we can still promote and network. And when times are good, maybe people will offer us a job, or the networking thing will pay off, or the channel will grow and money will come in from original projects that we do. You know, so
Right.
it's a great promotional tool. It can be free. I mean, the internet can be free if you want. And if you do original songs and sell tickets, yeah, I mean, why not? It's not the same, is it? But it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah. There's something about a digital product. Digital products don't seem to have as much value as like a physical product for some reason.
Yeah, because you can't hold it in your hand. And yet, ironically enough, I don't miss CDs. I like having Apple Music and just typing the song and listening. I don't like storing stuff, but people like to feel they've bought something physical. And I think with a gig, it's nice to be, well, depending on the venue, it's nice to be in the venue. It's very different to listening at home on a computer or a
Right.
cell phone.
Yeah, because they'll pay $20 for a ticket to go see a band in a bar,
Yeah,
but paying $20 for like an online
right.
concert, they're like, $20? I ain't doing that.
And yet it can be good, can't it? I mean, if you stream in 1080, if you call out their names and do a giveaway and give them a song request, it can be better than a bar.
Yeah.
I've been watching people lately like Andrew Lloyd Webber in his living room playing his piano. I absolutely love it.
Oh, that's cool.
I wouldn't go and see him in a big concert hall with thousands of people. It's not my thing. But I love watching him, in that environment. And John Bon Jovi just wrote a song. He did the first verse and then he leaves the vocals off the rest of it and asks us to write the lyrics. It's so personal. You
That
can
is
get so
cool.
personal through that, and you can cover a lot of ground on the internet as well with the video thing. You can pop into a Facebook group and go live, demonstrate your thing, and then get out again. It's almost like going on a virtual tour.
Yeah.
It's powerful if you use it the right way and still connect with people on a personal level somehow, and still do real world stuff as well. I think it's just an incredible tool, and like I said, it did a lot of damage to the industry. It also opened up a lot of doors for people as well, didn't it?
Right. So I think that's probably the main difference is just creating that experience for the viewer so that way they feel connected. Even though it is a digital
Yeah.
product, like they still feel connected and they're getting that value out of what you're doing.
Yeah, I think if you have great I mean, I didn't know you could stream in 1080 on YouTube. That's incredible.
Yeah.
If you have a DSLR and stream in 1080 with great audio, like real microphones and great audio, and if you have a great looking backdrop and lighting, which isn't hard to do,
Yeah.
and if you call, have someone helping you and call out names and get super chats and take requests, it can feel really personal.
Right.
Why can't the person sit there, dim their lights, have a glass of wine, and watch your concert and request a song from you? It's just a different, I guess. You know what? It's funny. It's like the Acoustasonic. It's just different. It's like the Headrush. It's not better or worse. It's just different, right?
Right.
The Headrush gives you all those amps, but a real amp gives you the real amp in the room. The Acoustasonic gives you 3 or 6 guitars, but a real Martin is a great guitar in its own right. So it's a very special thing. And it's the same with going to a bar or a venue to watch a band or watching them from your computer. They both have pluses and minuses. No, there's nothing that's I learned that about gear. It's very hard to say one thing is better than something else with anything in life, isn't it? Everything
Right.
has kind of a plus and a minus, and you have to kind of focus on the plus.
But it's kind of like
So
right now, like what's the best kind of toilet paper? It's like the kind that you
any
have.
any any anything you can get your hands on.
Whatever you can get, man. Just whatever you can
Oh,
get. Well, let's go into we're kind of shooting from the hip here. This is the first official podcast that I'm having. So I'm just kind of coming up with different ideas. But let's go ahead and do a like a lightning round kind of thing. I'm going to ask a question. You just give me the first thing you can think of off the top of your head. How about that?
okay.
All right. So go ahead and give me who's your favorite singer?
Elton John.
Elton John. Why is he your favorite singer?
Well, that I don't like that question because people say to me at my gigs, play your best song or play your favorite song?" I know hundreds of songs. Like, it's so hard to choose one that's my favorite, especially when you play them all the time.
Right.
But I don't know. Elton John's one of the first singers I liked, and I listen to his early stuff now. It just blows me away. Like there's no auto tune. I like to find those isolated tracks online. I just love the way he
Yeah.
sings, the inflection, no auto tune. I mean, it's my age again, but I love that stuff. I love the realness. And
Okay.
and
What's your favorite once again, this may not be the best way to format the question, but what's your favorite electric guitar? If you could have one, whether you've owned it before or not, like what's your favorite?
Fender Stratocaster. I've tried a lot, but I just felt I just always liked those, and I had several of them. And the one I have now, the Sonic Blue from Sweetwater, their
Yeah.
custom shop one, I love that guitar. I just struggle with the whole SSS HSS thing. I have SSS and I think it works for what I play,
Mm-hmm.
but I always then think to myself, oh, I wish I had a humbucker. But it's the same thing. Then you get the humbucker, you wish you had the SSS again. So I've kind of made peace with that, and I just love that. That is a really great
Or
guitar.
maybe you
I know,
could have a stacked humbucker in a
yeah,
single
but again,
size that you
but
could
again, it's
like
never.
flip the polarity and turn it
But
back into a
again, it's
single.
never the same. It's
Yeah.
not. It's never the same. And if you don't play metal and you can get by, I do have the Illich system in there. I put that in there. That's awesome. You ever seen that?
I think you've done a video on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. It's the back plate with the dummy coil, and it doesn't change the tone. It doesn't add weight. It's a little bit pricey, but it's basically gave me my guitar, but with not much noise. So
Cool.
that's a great guitar.
And what about acoustic guitars? What's your favorite?
Ooh, well, it changes. I had so
Is
many.
there
I had
or
so
also is there a certain year that you prefer? Like do you like
Nah.
older Martins or does it
No,
really
I've never been
doesn't really
into
matter?
vintage or relic. I like shiny new things. I
Right.
like shiny new things that sound great. But I guess one of my main from trying so many guitars, like the Martin HD 28, the new reimagined version is just
Mhm.
incredible. Like, as if I could have one acoustic, and that's not talking about pickups, but one actual pure acoustic would be that guitar. It's just amazing. It's iconic. It sounds great. It looks great. But I was that's as hard as choosing my favorite artist or song. because I played so many and they're all so different. And I tried to find the perfect guitar. I tried to get an HD28, maybe with a cutaway, and put the best pickup in the world in that. And it's just so hard because some of the best pickups affect the sound acoustically,
Mm-hmm.
etc., etc., etc. But yeah, just I was actually thinking about this yesterday. But if I had to say my favorite Martin guitar and one of the best kind of acoustic guitars in the world, I would say the HD28 for sure.
Very cool. HD28. And what's a movie that you like, Aaron?
Oh, favorite movie. I like The Wedding Singer. You ever
Yeah.
seen that? It's
Yeah.
one because I connect with it.
Yeah.
I connect with it. But
That could be you up there with the mullet and, singing
yeah,
for
well,
Jewish
I love the 80s thing. I love Adam
or
Sandler. I love
yeah.
the comedy, and I love the story. I mean, again, it's the same story, right? He's gigging every night, and then he loses his gigs, and he's like, but I've never sung that depressed on a stage though. Can you imagine?
Right.
Like, start breaking down.
Well, that's it for the lightning round. Is there any things coming up as far as new music, like original stuff? Do you have any plans for that? Maybe doing an
Well,
EP or an album or what's
I
going
always
on?
say I always say it's coming, but it's not something I've got to yet. I've really I put all my effort into my covers show, and now 50-50 that with the YouTube. But the
Mhm.
more I do YouTube, the more creative I'm getting. Like, I feel like doing those cover shows for so long every day kind of took me out of writing music in a way. So the YouTube thing is definitely it makes me feel more like a creator, because you're a creator when you're a YouTuber, right?
Oh yeah.
And even doing the covers and recording again, and I'm doing a lot of like backing. I got some software to make backing tracks with, and I'm doing those on my site too, like free backing tracks. I'm Band in the Box for them, and I feel more creative now, and I did kind of start writing something the other day, but I'm not able to say to people, oh, I'm writing an album that's coming out on this day. Maybe it's good to do that because it gives you a deadline. But for me, that's the pinnacle. For me, like, doing less cover shows, but still some, doing the YouTube thing, getting known on YouTube for knowing what I'm talking about, doing some covers on there that are popular, and then the last thing for me is to then do original songs.
Yeah. That's
Although
really cool.
I think that's a path that I have. Although I don't personally feel like original songs are the be and end all. I think, I also love Elvis Presley. He never wrote a song in his life, right? He was a great artist. I mean, he sang in tune every time. He had his own thing going on. He was a great entertainer. So
Yeah.
I don't I'm not passionate about, like, oh, I'm a songwriter kind of thing, but I do like to write. One of the best things I ever did was make my album, which is on all the platforms. 10 songs about truth, lies, and other things.
Oh yeah.
I made that in a real studio, old school studio, with all analog
Oh
in
fun.
London. I mastered it at Abbey Road, and
Oh cool.
I'd say that's one of the best musical experiences of my life. Like, recording my songs with session players in a real, London studio, and going to Abbey Road and releasing it. That's probably one of the musical highlights. So I do want to do more of that, but that's the like I said, that's the kind of pinnacle for me. And it'd be great to do that, and then it'd be great to do that, document the process
Yeah.
completely, and then release it, wouldn't it? Because again, I have pictures of those sessions, but I didn't film them. Wouldn't it be
Right.
great to have all this kind of, like, the process
And what year
on?
was that for you?
Well, that was 2009. I think.
2009, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while now. Yeah, I've done a few things since that are online. Like, I did like an EP and a single, but I haven't done much in the last few years. I definitely want to do more songwriting. Also really feel I got kind of sucked into, like I said, playing every night and buying gear, and I think I became more about the bar gigs and the gear than the other stuff. So
Right.
now I'm being forced to do the other stuff. I'm hoping that will grow, but I don't know. I can't. I don't want to say I'm going to write 10 songs by next week. I don't.
Oh no.
What I mean? I'm not that kind of writer. I kind of write when it hits me.
Yeah. Well, I'm the same way. I'm not much of a lyric writer myself, but I like doing music. That's why I like doing
Mm,
production demos for like other
mm,
songwriters because I
yeah.
kind of feel like I can take the original scratch idea and then just build it out into like this full production sound, and they can go off and pitch that to other artists if they
Mm,
want, or just have it for their own collection or whatever they want. But I'm looking at your photos section of the website here, Aaron. And
Mm.
if this music thing doesn't work out, then you could definitely be a model. How about that?
Well, yeah, but though, thank you, but much like the album, those photos are about 10 years old now.
I
So
see that.
I,
Yeah, this is
that's another thing.
2011. So
That's another thing that I need to do. You know, the
yeah.
time. So here's the thing. Like, it's a good point, and I want to add. You know, if you want to write, if you want to be a songwriter, I believe you have to do it every day. It's another
Mhm.
thing that needs time. You know, I would love to get to a place where I wake up, I write for an hour. You know, I practice for 2 hours. I work on my recording sessions for an hour. I make a video for 2 hours. I'd love that. I think we need that schedule. And again,
Mhm.
you need time for that schedule. So that's songwriting thing is something I should add into my day. And I should once a week make a video about those sessions on the channel and ask people if they want to collaborate. You know, I don't really care about the copyright thing. If I want to personally, if I want to be, that's a nice thing I could do. I could like write songs with the viewers almost. I could almost go live with some ideas and write with people. I don't know. I like the collaboration thing. I just think you always have to make time for all of this stuff. Like
Right.
anyone can say, I'm going to be a YouTuber. Yeah, but you have to actually do it, don't you? You have to plan it and make it part of your day, or you just won't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I could have easily sat on my butt a few days ago and be like, "Yeah, I want to do this podcast thing," but
Yeah,
I'm
same
I'm
thing.
gonna watch Netflix instead. You know, you have to actually contact the people, schedule it, and just follow through. Right? You gotta make it happen.
Yep,
So,
yep.
well, there's a saying I came up with a few years ago, and I feel like that's another strong or strength that I have is coming up with like little sayings and stuff. But like I have a saying called "confidence is gained through experience,"
Mm.
and if you wouldn't have had all those experiences growing up, you know, in England and doing the bar scene and now doing YouTube, you wouldn't be where you are today.
Right.
And, you know, and I feel if I never went to MTSU, if I never met the people that I met, you know, whatever you think about college or not, it's like it is an experience that you may not be learning stuff in the actual classes, and you may, but some people get, you know, they take experiences from that time of their life and it molds them into the person that they are today. So, I definitely am thankful for all the experiences I've had, whether it's MTSU, going to college, or playing in the band I was in for a long time, Feedback Revival, touring Europe, you know, being in different studios and recording, and even recording here at my own place, and just working with different artists, is it all adds up, doesn't it, to that to not even the final destination, but just the journey that we're all on, and we're
But what do you
able.
think about this podcast thing? Because is it kind of full? It makes me laugh because we got all this video stuff now, and we're both doing high HD videos on YouTube,
Hmm.
and now you and a lot of other YouTubers doing podcasts. Now I guess you could put this on YouTube with no video. You could have it on there.
And that's what I plan on doing.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
for
I
now.
feel like this is another way of making easy videos because in the way that I set up the rig in my room to make it easier,
Yeah,
the podcast is easier because it's just audio. You haven't got to worry about dressing up and getting the room ready and getting your video right. You just do the audio right. And I also think with YouTube, what I do lately is I carry it around and just listen to people as well.
yeah.
I don't always watch them. I just listen. So I think it's another thing about technology and music, how we're kind of always going full circle. And then I wonder, will what else will happen with that? Like I've not heard an electric guitar on a song for a long time, like a solo. Like
Hmm.
are they gonna come back again?
I
It's
put
interesting.
electric guitar solos in all my songs, so
Are they on the radio?
no, not in the radio.
And
No,
then what's
not
a, and
yet.
then what and then what's a radio anyway? Well, radio's still kicking around, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just I don't think anything's been replaced. There's just lots more stuff now, isn't there? Just
Right.
loads of stuff.
Well, it's like that '80s song, you know, "Video Killed the Radio Star." It's like, well, it
Yeah.
didn't kill it; it just changed it into something else,
Yes. Yeah.
you
You're
know.
right.
And now the Spotify killed the radio star, or the music, or the MTV star, or actually, what killed MTV was reality TV. TV killed MTV. It killed
Yeah.
the
And,
music
and
video format, and now we just have music videos on YouTube.
But the internet
You
is the
know,
ultimate reality TV. Some people
it
don't do
is,
music.
yeah.
some people don't buy guitars and review them like we do. Some people just talk. Like, oh, today I went to the shops and had a haircut, and look at my haircut. Like, so that's the ultimate reality TV. And I mean, the great thing is we basically have a TV studio in our home, don't we?
Right.
We can just if you imagine if you're Rick Beato with millions of subscribers, and you just turn the camera on and you have 5,000 people watching you, and you can just say, hey, check this out. It's an amazing platform.
Right.
And that's just live. Then, a week later, he's had like 100,000 views. It's crazy. But it's great, isn't it?
It is pretty cool. Well, thanks, Aaron, for being on the podcast today.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was fun. It was fun.
Just talking about your musical journey there. And we'll do more. We'll do some cross grading between our channels and talking about different stuff, I'm sure, in the future.
Yeah, I'm going to invite you on my video interview series. I got one today to start those up. So I'm going to have you on there if you want, and we'll talk about your life and focus on the music. You do music production, right? So I'd like to talk about that more as well. That's very interesting.
Well, you'll have to share your OBS settings with me so I can get that set up going.
Yes, we'll do.
Myself.
That's something I just figured out yesterday. So
and we can take over the internet together. How about that?
We'll try. We'll do our best. That'd be a nice thing, wouldn't it?
Sure.
I wouldn't say no.
It would be great. All right, Aaron. You have a good rest of your day, and stay safe out there.
You too, and please subscribe to youtube.com/Aaron Short Music.